spouses and ex-spouses of trans people. Can you tell me your story? My 29F husband 32M is becoming a woman. I will provide a brief summary at the end. I apologize if this is too lengthy. It is a lot to unpack. I am more than willing to answer any questions. I am a 29-year-old female, married to a 32-year-old male. We have been together for approximately 14 years and married for nearly 5. The original plan was to get married, purchase a house, enjoy a year or two as a couple, and then start a family. If we found out we were unable to have children, we had discussed traveling more instead. This loose plan still exists for me, but my desire to have children has grown significantly, especially since both of his siblings have recently welcomed children. He has always struggled with depression and anxiety. He has gone through multiple doctors and therapists. He has not held a job for nearly 4 of the 5 years we have been married, suffering from severe work-related anxiety even before we tied the knot. He was doing well on our wedding day, which took place just before the COVID pandemic. Since he has not been employed and I mismanaged our budget, I now find myself in significant debt and am working 2 jobs to slowly lessen that burden. He has always shown a great deal of care for me. Our physical connection is strong, both sexually and in other ways. We think similarly on many topics. A couple of years ago, he discovered a comic online that unexpectedly resonated with him concerning being transgender, or more specifically, identifying as a woman. Since that realization, he has seen several more doctors and spent considerable time researching and contemplating his feelings. He pierced his ears, purchased a purse, painted his nails, shaved his beard, and grew his hair out as initial steps, which I have gladly supported. He has fluctuated in his feelings about what feels right, partly because I am struggling as well, and that is the reason I am seeking help. He has always been a more feminine man, which I have found appealing. We were similar yet distinct. For transparency, he mentioned early in our relationship that during high school, he contemplated being a woman, but ultimately decided against it after some research and continued on with his life. After our recent conversations, I realized he was referring to gender reassignment surgery. It seems possible that the idea of being a woman never fully disappeared. He appeared to be quite content with me and the role of being my man, despite the depression and anxiety for which he continues to take medication. I consider myself an LGBTQ ally. While I may not fully grasp all of those emotions, I understand that individuals seek happiness, and I will not obstruct that. I will defend their right to pursue their identities, as it does not harm anyone. I have been curious about bisexuality, but that path never felt entirely right for me. We once contemplated swinging before he recognized his transgender identity, and we also considered polyamory. All of these discussions included the understanding that if either of us decided against it, we would cease immediately. However, he ended up assisting his father in another state for several months, which led us to leave the conversation unresolved. When he acknowledged his transgender identity, we put those considerations on indefinite hold as he navigated this journey an understandable course of action. In my perspective, that was all bonus content and never a prerequisite, so letting it go was mildly disappointing but nothing more. He now aspires to transition into a woman, actively working through various steps. I will continue to use masculine pronouns since he has not yet requested that anyone refer to him differently. I know he intends to make that change. He also still desires to have children. This development has unsettled me. I strive to be understanding and appreciate that he wants to find happiness within himself, or rather, herself. But I was content with my husband and envisioned him as the future father of my children. He and his brother share similar looks, so witnessing my brother-in-law interact with his baby girl felt natural in my mind. It felt like everything fit. My husband cradled her once, and I thought everything was right, surely just a matter of time. I find men attractive. I appreciate short beards and goatees, formal attire, and I enjoy taking on a complimentary role. I do not find women attractive, and I generally do not get along well with most women, though I am unsure why. I am somewhat selfish and do not wish to share the title of Mom. I have always imagined it being Mom and Dad. He plans to retain his male anatomy gender reassignment surgery is not in his plans. He is arranging for laser hair removal and intends to remove nearly all his body hair. He is quite hairy. I love his deeper voice, but he is training to adopt a higher pitch. I have always cherished his name, but he plans to change it, which I find a bit amusing since it is unisex, though I recognize that it may not feel right for him. This is a person I deeply love. We share nearly all the same interests, have enjoyed numerous adventures together, and had been loosely planning more experiences. He has taken excellent care of me physically and generally supports my emotional well-being. Prior to discovering the comic, he was in a good place. He was starting to seek new job opportunities, and we were happy. However, after that incident, he became aggressive, frustrated with everything, and unkind. He realized he could not continue in that manner and felt that identifying as a woman was more authentic for him and brought him happiness. I want to continue loving this person, but as someone who has always identified as straight and felt comfortable in that identity, I am finding it exceedingly difficult to believe that I could be happy long-term with this change. I have read several accounts and recognize that there will be unforeseen changes for both of us, some of which we may not notice immediately. I often want to just say, let's rip off the Band-Aid, and I will manage whatever comes next. But each time I consider that he will never use his old name again or resemble the person I married, I become overwhelmed. I do not wish to re-enter the dating world. Starting over is not appealing to me. I am uncertain about what is right for me anymore. I lack confidence that I will find happiness without a man or husband. I know if I leave, I must begin anew, and since I desire biological children, I feel pressed for time. Given that he is unemployed, if we were to divorce, I am aware that he would have to return to his parents' house, which is located a considerable distance away from mine in the United States. This would mean losing my best friend, and he would lose much of our social circle as well. I am also acutely aware of the political environment and fear for his safety and his ability to access the necessary gender-affirming care. I recognize that he must embark on this journey. I hope that he can explore it, enjoy the experience, and eventually decides to identify as a man again, though I understand that this outcome is unlikely. Therefore, I am seeking assistance. I have a therapist, but ultimately it comes down to my feelings and desires, and I feel lost. To individuals who have divorced, what was the tipping point and when did it occur? For those who remain married, what has been the most challenging aspect? How long has it been since the transition? Are you still content and do you foresee continuing to be happy? Please help this lost woman find hope. Summary: I am a 29-year-old female married to a 32-year-old male. We have been together for about 14 years. My husband feels that he should be a woman, and I am struggling with this change. We both love each other and do not want a divorce, but it remains a possibility. I am eager to hear the experiences of those who are currently married to or have divorced individuals who are transgender to help guide my thoughts and feelings. Story 2. Tries to screw me over 139. I actually screw them out of 72,000. Skip to the bottom for the summary if you do not wish to read about my challenging experience with customer service. After my wife and I got married last year, we decided to join the same phone plan. We visited the ATT store and spoke with a representative who informed us that we would both be on an unlimited plan for $70 per month, all-inclusive, covering taxes and fees. I specifically requested the all-inclusive price for the service. It seemed like a fair deal, so we proceeded with the enrollment. 2 days later, when I logged into the website, I noticed a bill for $139. I called a representative to inquire about this, and they explained that, due to activation fees, taxes, and surcharges, the charge was accurate. I informed them of what the salesperson had communicated, and they essentially dismissed my concerns. I then requested to cancel the service and have the $139 charge waived. They stated that they could cancel the service but would not waive the bill. They also warned me that if I canceled immediately, my wife and I would lose our phone numbers, which was true. Since I was already obligated to pay for the month and did not wish to lose my number, I decided to find a new carrier and cancel when I was ready. I researched and discovered Visible, which is exceptional, and we made the switch. I contacted ATT again to inform them of our new carrier and to request the cancellation of the service. I once more asked for a refund. The representative told me that since I had used the service for 4 days, I was not eligible for a refund. He suggested I review the fine print in the contract, which indeed stated that I had 3 days to cancel for a full refund. I became furious because the first customer service representative I spoke with on day 2 had denied me a refund if I chose to cancel. I requested to speak with a higher-level representative and was connected to a customer care and retention agent. I explained the whole ordeal to him, expressing my frustration at being misled twice by ATT representatives, the sales representative, and the initial customer service representative. He was very understanding and apologized, assuring me he would take care of the situation and would completely waive the bill. I was grateful and hung up, thinking the matter was finally resolved. Fast forward a month, and I received an ATT bill in the mail indicating that my payment was late. Once more, I picked up the phone to call ATT. I navigated through 2 customer service representatives until I reached the customer care and retention department again. This time, instead of speaking with the understanding representative, I was met with a rather unpleasant woman who insisted that the bill was due and I owed the full amount. I asked her to check the notes from the previous representative, who had stated that the bill would be waived. She placed me on a 10-minute hold and returned, saying she would escalate the issue to her supervisor. She mentioned that I should expect an email by the end of the week with a resolution. 2 weeks passed without any response. I called again and spoke with a very kind woman who expressed sympathy. She stated that she would waive the bill, but then informed me that she could not proceed since the bill had already been sent to collections. She reassured me not to worry, promising to send a letter to collections to have them waive the debt. I inquired whether this would affect my credit report, and she assured me it would not, affirming they would handle the matter. 6 months later, I received a letter from Sequium Asset Solutions based in Georgia attempting to collect the $139. I promptly sent them a certified letter demanding verification of the debt, recognizing it as dubious. After 2 months of silence, I received an alert that a negative mark had appeared on my credit. Upon checking, I found that Sequium had reported the debt as being in collections. I immediately contacted all 3 credit bureaus requesting the removal of the mark. A month later, all 3 bureaus removed the notation, which was a relief. Another 3 months passed, and then I received a letter from Sunrise Credit Services in New York, again attempting to collect on the debt. This situation is truly astounding. It seems Sequium could not verify the debt, so rather than apologize and waive it, they sold it to another collection agency. I sent another certified letter to Sunrise demanding verification, but received no response. So far, they have not attempted to mark my credit. That is where this part of my story concludes. What comes next is uncertain. I could consider filing a lawsuit, but the cost of filing would surpass the amount owed. Here's the thing, I am not financially constrained. I am fortunate enough to cover the $139 without affecting my budget. However, I have lost 5 times that amount in hours spent on the phone and writing letters. Still, I am resolute in pursuing this matter with ATT on principle alone. This leads us to the revenge phase. Alongside my role as an attorney, I serve as an elected city council member in my town. While reviewing our monthly expenses, I discovered that we were paying ATT nearly $6,000 per month for our phone, internet, and television services. Given that we are a relatively small town, it became evident that we were being overcharged and could significantly reduce costs by switching providers. I began collaborating with our city manager and IT director to explore alternative solutions. We found that by transitioning to various carriers and providers, we could save half of our expenses. I never would have scrutinized our telecommunications expenses so closely had ATT not caused this trouble. 2 weeks ago, the proposal to switch providers was added to our meeting agenda, and the council voted to approve it. We resolved to sever all ties with ATT. Our city is now saving a considerable amount of money, receiving better service, and using the funds saved from switching to employ an additional part-time animal shelter worker, which was an urgent need. I highly doubt our city would have contemplated making this switch if I had not raised such a commotion about it. ATT will ultimately lose hundreds of thousands of dollars over the coming years due to this. I hope it was worth it. Summary. ATT misled me 3 times, placed inaccurate marks on my credit report, and made me spend countless hours on the phone and sending letters to resolve the issue. As a city council member, I discovered we could save 50% by switching all our services away from ATT, which will save our city thousands and cost ATT a $72,000 annual contract. Edit. Thank you for the recognition. Ultra late hidden edit. We just entered the budgeting session, and it turns out we actually saved $108,000 per year.